Want to spend a few days at the cabin? The invitation from my buddy Arnold came out of the blue, so I wondered if there was a catch. We used to be pretty tight at one time, but we'd drifted apart. He must have read my mind, for he said, "I thought it would be great to get back together and re-establish our friendship. Besides, there's something I want to ask you about, to show you." Now we're getting down to it. "Can you come over to my place later? I want to show you something." I have to admit, I was intrigued to find out what he wanted, and a few days away from the city would be a welcome break, so I came over. After a few beers and some small talk, Arnold finally got down to business. He took me into his office, where he had a laptop and a large monitor. As we sat, he told me that he had some security cameras out at the cabin, and he wanted to show me something that turned up last weekend. I was expecting the usual grainy black and white footage, but instead, I see these images in crystal clear color. We saw a patch of brownish lawn. It had been a dry summer, with a grove of thick trees along the top of the frame. At first, all you could see was this bucolic scene. But then, suddenly, a pair of alabaster arms, ending in a huge handed claw, were thrust out from the underbrush, and the arms were followed by the rest of an extraordinary human creature. It was an emaciated albino with glowing red eyes, standing at about 5 feet in height. As we watched spellbound, it dropped to all fours, racing diagonally across the lawn. The strange being then appeared at the rear of the property, obviously trying to gain entry. "Thank God I put all those shutters up before I go to bed," Arnold said. The weird creature was captured next by the camera at the front of the cabin. After triggering the security lights, it moved leisurely, still on all fours, across the dirt driveway and into the tall grass of the nearby ravine. "What is that thing?" Arnold said. "A space alien? I haven't experienced any missing time, I don't think." "No," I said slowly. "That's not a grey alien. I think it's an entity known as the Rake." Arnold smiled, so I added, "Not that type of Rake." I explained to him that the Rake was a cryptid, or paranormal entity, a hairless albino humanoid known for its sharp teeth, huge rake-like hands, and incredibly long claws. It's also known for its extremely aggressive behavior towards humans, and has been documented entering homes and bedrooms to kill. I also told him about the controversial research of a cryptozoologist named Mort, who believed the Rake to be a subterranean dweller living in caves and fissures beneath the earth. "Well, there's a lot of caves around here," Arnold said. "The cabin is at the base of the dirt hills, which are riddled with caves and fissures. They even did little mining around there." As might be guessed, the upshot of this discussion was me agreeing to joining Arnold as an observer at the cabin that weekend. The cabin was situated about 40 miles south of the city, on a small rise. It had a rutted dirt driveway and was surrounded on both sides by ravines and overgrown with wild grass and scrub. It was great to get out of town, even if we were only a short distance away. Arnold put a pair of thick steaks on the barbie, and we dined very well too. "I don't think I'll make it to 2 in the morning, I said, sucking back on another can of Pilsner. "One of us should sack out while the other one stands watch in case something happens." "Okay," Arnold agreed, "but you're taking first watch." And so I did, and promptly fell asleep. I woke up with a start, and felt a wave of cold wash over me. What time was it? I grabbed my phone. It was 3:09, the wee hours of the morning long past the witching hour. I could hear Arnold's raucous snores emanating from the bedroom. Pulling myself together, I checked the security footage. I was just in time to see the white figure of the cryptid, the Rake, streaking across the patch of dry lawn and into the trees. I quickly roused Arnold, who blurted, "So it was trying to get in, huh?" "I don't know, but it seemed to be running away." We went to check the security cams, and while I didn't say anything to Arnold, I was still terrified. And I wondered if he was frightened too. And one of our front showed two figures standing on the rutted driveway. Two kids. "What the hell?" Arnold repeated. "What are two kids doing out here in the middle of the night?" After looking at them, I was afraid I knew why. "I think they're the black-eyed children." "Black-eyed what?" But there was no time to explain. For at that exact moment, there came a knock at the cabin door. Before I could stop him, Arnold called out, "Who's there?" We then heard a plaintive male-voiced cry, "Please, sir, let us in. We're lost and we need to phone our mother." Arnold indistinctly made for the door. He was a kind guy and would have opened it, but instead, he suddenly stopped dead. He had struck the wall of fear. I had come across the room to stop him, and I whispered, "Don't engage." "What?" he mouthed, and I was leading him back to the living room, when we heard a second voice, this time a girl's. "Please, Arnold, please let us in. We're cold, and we want to phone our mummy." "Who are you? How do you know my name?" He was yelling in fear and anger. There was no point trying to keep them quiet now. I told Arnold what little I knew about the black-eyed kids, and that it was imperative to not let them in. The whole time the kids had been parading around the outside, knocking on the walls and chanting, come out wherever you are, come out to play." To avoid listening to them, we turned on the local heavy metal rock station and turned it up loud that it rattled the windows and shook to the cabin's foundations. It drowned them out. Almost. We could still hear them in our minds, though. Eventually we slept. Dawn was breaking when I awoke, and the music was no longer playing. I rubbed my eyes, and at the end of the bed was a hairless, emaciated, albino creature with a thin mouth full of sharp teeth and glowing hot pink eyes and huge rake-like hands ending in incredibly long claws. It was the Rake, and I realized this was the end.